Someone asked if I can make a video about queuing. And I think this is a really good topic that I really didn't get into in that previous video. Now, the thing with queuing is there is no one cue for every person, nor is there one cue for every exercise. And what I mean is, if I give you a cue and it works great for you, for dumbbell rows, for instance, if I give that same exact cue to another person, it's not necessarily going to work for them. There are some general cues that most people will react to similarly, but in general, the best thing to do about cues is to gather as many as you can and just run through different ones until you see that it works on a certain person. So, like in general, when you're trying to teach someone a hip hinge or like an RDL, similar type movements, generally, if you tell someone to pretend they're trying to close the car door with their butt, most people tend to understand that one intrinsically. But this leads me to another point. The best kind of cues tend to be telling someone to do something physically or mimic something physically. Like if you tell someone to stick their butt back like they're trying to close a car door, they can picture that movement and then they can mimic that movement. Or if you tell someone to imagine they're trying to pinch something between their butt cheeks, most people kind of understand that, even if it is a very silly cue. Compare that to squeeze your glutes. Most clients have no fucking idea what that means. They don't know how to squeeze their glutes. That's why they hired you to train them. So instead of saying squeeze your glutes, you say pinch something between your butt cheeks. Most clients are going to kind of understand that much better. So in general, when it comes to cueing, the most important thing I can say, and I'm going to repeat myself, is give people physical cues. Instead of saying squeeze your shoulder blades together, physically put your hand in between their shoulder blades, touching their back, and tell them to squeeze your hand with their shoulder blades. It's a slightly different cue, but it's going to be much better for the client because they can physically understand what is going on. They can picture in their minds what is going on, and then they can tell their body to do that. One thing that I liked to do when I was training clients in person, I would physically punch people, not very hard, obviously. Let's call it a light tap rather than a punch. But instead of saying brace your core, people don't know what that means. So when you say brace your core, punch them in the stomach, so then they can start associating bracing their core with you punching them in the stomach. And when you punch someone in the stomach, they're automatically going to brace their abs because they don't want to get punched in the stomach. No one likes that. And people will brace their abs naturally as to prepare for that. And then you can start using that internal cue, brace your core, once they've kind of associated that physical cue with the internal feelings of that. Similarly, instead of saying, squeeze your glutes, I would tend to tap people lightly on the butt, and they would naturally squeeze their butt. And if you're uncomfortable with that, that's totally fine. I'll just say, like, I am a fairly introverted person, and that may have initially felt weird to me, but as long as it's not really weird to you, most clients will understand that you're not being creepy. Like, if you're doing this to be a creep, then obviously don't do that. But I'm saying, like, a lot of people tend to talk about, just watch out and be careful of the things you do. Of course, you should do this. If you think someone's going to react very badly if you tap them in the butt, then don't do that. And obviously do not tap a female on her breasts if you're a male. But in general, most clients understand that you are a professional and you are doing something to help them. So I would not get too worried about touching people if you feel this is weird. Again, if this does feel really strange to you and you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. If it feels really strange to you, clients are going to get weirded out because they're feeling that coming off from you. But in general, most people will respect this. They'll understand what you're trying to do, that you're trying to help them. And I don't really think it's something to be worried about. Just another thing too, back muscles, anything posterior chain really related for clients is going to be tough for them to kind of do intrinsically. So I will always tend to tap people, punch people lightly on their back, on their lats, tap their lats, tap their back muscles when they're doing back exercises to help them get that connection as they're doing the exercise. So if you lightly just tap someone on the lats or somewhere on their back to get that specific muscle, to get them to feel that muscle as they're doing the exercise, that will also help create that connection, that intrinsic connection with that external cue. So again, two things. I just want to reiterate what I said. Two things. Collect as many cues as you possibly can, because all sorts of different cues are going to work for all sorts of different people. And then also use as many external cues as you can so the clients start picturing those external cues in their mind so they can actually do those movements. And of course, say as little as possible and then shut the fuck up until they're done the exercise and then maybe correct something else the next time.